when you joined, what was the problem you were looking to solve in your business? And then you can layer that in as one of the
Okay.
techniques you use to solve it.
Mine was unique, but maybe not. COVID had happened. I was exiting or had exited already a 40-year-old business that I was one of the newer owners, and everybody ran for the hills. I joined a global company, which I never did before. Let me try this on for size. Didn't like it. It completely crapped out for me during COVID at the beginning of it. And it was a blessing in disguise. I found you guys. So I repivoted, same clients, same contingency mindset, a little bit of retained, but mostly contingency. Still was in that, I'll call it a rut for some of you that do it, but I hated it. I hated the contingency world. And slowly but surely, I wrapped my arms around this flip marketing idea, and it became my favorite tool. Again, did it a little bit, didn't do it enough. Now I do it daily, multiple times a day, and it's changed my business because it's how I show up. It's why people work with me. One of the reasons they love that I'm actually helping them. And in your words, it put me in that trusted advisor mindset. And that's the way I saw myself, but didn't have the tools. So you saw the blind spot. Artist saw the blind spot. I lean into that. I have a few others I use as well, but I love that one is my favorite. So, and I'm really good at it, but I'm getting even better. So it's become my daily activity. Yeah.
What are a couple pro tips you can pass on the concept of flip marketing?
First of all, it's the mindset around it. First of all, when I approach every client as a potential candidate at that seat in the C-suite, I work with CROs, chief sales officers, VPs of sales. I love those people. It's my mindset. It's how I show up as well. So I could speak their language. And for me, that's easy. The mindset around it was these people are not being solicited for their own job. They're being asked if they have a job order, which is the wrong way to go about it, which I know, but I got the tools now and some great talk tracks. So when I reach out to those people, they're like a little surprised and happy that somebody's actually thinking about them and their career. And I created my own framework, methodology beyond the flip. It became how I show up. And now everything I do is about helping them get to that next level. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Even if they're not looking, tell me tell me how you love your career. Tell me I'm unhappy. What do you love about what you're doing? Tell me about what's going great. And I stay unhappy, and then floodgates open. Hey, what would you change to make it better? Sound familiar, Mike? and that's where I lead. And all of a sudden the floodgates open and everybody's, so what do you got? And of course I said, let's first talk about what you want, regardless of what I have. I have this and this, but it may not be right for you. And then I go into them. What's in it for them? I stay in happy. I stay in positive energy. I stay in, where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be? Tell me what's going well, I could repeat myself, but that's where I stay. And those little notes, those little tidbits take me from a guy that just solicited them or sent them a MPC campaign or whatever. I was referred. I love it though, because it's the easiest way to them saying, you know what? I'm not looking right now, but I've got this job order I'm thinking of. I've got this position we're looking to fill. And that happens 10, 20, maybe sometimes 30% of the time. And I also stay in touch with those people. I swing really big where I didn't swing that big before, and I could have, but I didn't. Coulda, shoulda. I now swing at the CEO all the time to see what's happening at that next level be underneath them. What's going on? How's your team looking? What's happening with your revenue? Where do you see the business growing? Where are you missing the mark? And I'm in the game. So every one of these C-suite revenue officers could be a good fit because I play in a couple of spaces that I really like. And I have these people, this arsenal or pipeline of great C-level people that are looking at me as I am their advisor. I'm their guy bringing them into the market because I do it confidentially. I do it quietly, and I represent them with that in mind so they're not compromising themselves. So it works like a charm. And it's not a game for me. It's actually, I truly want to get them into that next role. But if that doesn't happen quickly, they're my launching pad for a lot of other things because I'm connected to 3, 5, 55 people that they know. And it becomes all of a sudden people are coming at me without me really doing social media marketing and all that stuff that I wasted a lot of time on. It's not nonsense, but it doesn't get me closer to a placement. It doesn't get me any FTIs. It gets me a brand recognition a little bit, but I avoid that stuff now. I let somebody else do it. I've got my marketing that I love, my content marketing that just flows in the background. I do nothing other than call people that are in my inbox, but the rest of it, flip marketing all day long. And then the job orders, the floodgates opened up in the last few months. We could talk about that if you want to pivot, but the beauty is I planted a ton of seeds and I've gotten very comfortable with not worrying about how quickly the job orders come because it's going to happen today, tomorrow, next week, next month. I just keep planting the seeds and following up. I have my touch points. I've got my cadence tools. I use Kathleen's method like to a T, and I do 3 emails. Hi, how are you? I saw you may be looking, or hey, are you open to hearing about a potentially stronger career? I do a few different things. I may do a flip marketing in writing, or I market to something I read about them, and I do it 3 times. Hi, how are you? And then, hey, did you miss this? And then the third one is, hey, I guess you're too busy to look at your career. Something fun, something creative. Hey, I see that you're ghosting me. No problem, but who do you know that would benefit from being the next CEO of this company? Let me know. I do whatever. I play games with it, have fun with it, and people respond. And when they get it 3 times, they're coming at me going, hey, I'm sorry. Probably 50% of the time, I'm sorry I missed this. And then I'm on a phone call. That's a lot of phone calls, which means I'm not worried about my MPs or my RPs. It's coming at me because I'm doing it organically and a little proactive and a lot of reactive. So that's a great tip. I do that and I warm up every one of my calls, and my recruiters do that too, and send out the flip marketing script. I adapted it, but every time we get somebody in the database, automatically my researcher who puts the information in sends it out as me, and people get that 3 or 4 email sequence, and we're calling after that first email, calling them every other week, sometimes 2 or 3 days in a row, but we do it every other week and keep the cadence going. And people are in our database and going, hey, when they're ready, they think of me first. So those are a couple of quick tips.
I like that from a time management
Yeah.
tactic. Someone else sending out the emails as you.
Oh, huge. Yes. So I'll tell you about that. What I got, but I didn't know really much about. I tried a researcher here and there and did. One of my partners was, we played games a bit, paid a guy $50 or $100 to get us stuff. It didn't work out. We really did none of this. We just got the names and made the calls. We didn't email. We used LinkedIn a little. We just played with it. Now it's not, let's not worry about how quickly, but let's just plant the seeds and follow up, follow through. The key is it's actually a process, and the process, you let the process unfold. And if you're making the calls, I learned from a guy named Jason Bay, a marketing kind of guru guy, that it's not about you over messaging people. It's about, if you're doing the 2 or 3 tier, the phone call, the email, the LinkedIn, just a note, you don't leave a lengthy message and regurgitate over the phone. You say, hey, I just shot you a LinkedIn message to say hello. Let me know if you got it. No need to call me back. Like that kind of stuff. Or send the email and say, hey, I saw you did this in your company. Love your background. Would you be open to hearing about potentially stronger career opportunity in current situation? Let's chat. And then I'll send a LinkedIn note. Hey, I sent you an email. So they're going to go, I send them to those different places. They may love the email. They may love the phone. They may love the LinkedIn. Whatever it is, I'm using those 3 like they're playing off each other, like a bouncing kind of between all 3. And for us, we play with them how they want to play. We play in their space. So it's all about them. I love this because now it's become a game, and it's a game that's fun. I remember when you emailed me, I got those emails and I said, timing's kind of right. Let me do this. Let me check this out. But that was a long time ago. Now here I am 3, 4 years later. I have so many tools that I didn't even know existed because I was the guy that was on the phone making calls, and one of the partners in the firm said, put them on hold. And they taught me what to do. That's how I learned recruiting. Put them on hold. Say this. That was crazy, but it was learning, drinking from the fire hose and learning like in the flame, in the fire, do this. So anyway, but those tools are fantastic. I love the MPC and the priming the phone calls up. There's a couple of things like that.
So you had a rough patch.
Oh yeah. Oh, upper limiting to the nth degree. I was the poster child for upper limiting. Right?
Yes.
Self-imposed.
Self-imposed. So,
Yeah.
because we all go through it.
Oh, yeah.
It's human.
Oh.
And how did you work yourself out of it?
It was definitely took a village, but I had to do a lot of work on my own. I didn't expect anyone to do it for me, but I leaned into my mindset coach and my business coach. but I also had to spend a lot of time reprogramming the way I thought about my business, because I created the situation because I took my foot off the gas. That's probably the simplest way, but that made the whole thought pattern, the whole way I looked at my business, when it took it out of whack. And it wasn't reality, it was just the way I thought about it. And when I somehow, with a little help from my friends, maybe a lot of help, I spent a lot more time putting positive information into my brain and shutting out all the negative self-talk. Oh, why did I do this? I made that mistake. Why did I take none of that helped. All I did was I bared down. I started dialing. I started doing what I always did. And I know I'm good at it. Sometimes I'm great at it, right? And I did it consistently. And then I looked at the metrics and I looked at the number of FTIs, the number of job orders I was writing, and all that together without getting into all the detail. All of a sudden, the seeds I planted a month ago, 3 months ago, started coming through because I said, this is what I want to do. I haven't decided on how I wanted to show up a little differently, but I just leaned into the flip marketing. I leaned into my approach. I borrowed this from something you had a conversation with Jordan Rayboy way back, and you'll remember it. And part of my approach was showing up for those candidates. I work in sales and sales leadership, and this plays right into it. It's a sports analogy. And I say, what do I need to do to earn the right to represent you like an agent represents an athlete to the next team? You remember that with Jordan? And I loved it. I said, I borrowed it. But I made it my own. And I love it because it's exactly how people want to be treated. And that gave me every single person. This is a good problem to have. Every single person I met, save one or two here and there, wanted me to represent them. Every single one, because possibly my energy, possibly the way I showed up, possibly the timing was right, but it was more, I know it was me without being cocky. I know it was me and how I transferred that energy because my gratitude, my positive mindset, the way I reprogram my mind, I was transfer of energy. And it made everyone said, I love that idea. Nobody's ever approached me like that before. Nobody, like I'm a genius here, and I'm not. I just decided this is the way I want to show up. I want to be treated. So me reprogramming that and retooling how I show up, it was a game changer. Now I've got plenty of retainers and a bunch behind it that I have to say, could we wait a couple of weeks kind of thing? And I keep planting those seeds. And I just hired back a recruiter. I just hired another researcher, and we're on our way. So now I just need to consistently stay on point. I'm not slowing down except on Christmas and around Hanukkah. I'll slow down a little for a day. That's about it. I'm going to make calls when people don't expect it. I'm calling them on their toilet. I'm calling them while they're in their pool. I'm calling them on vacation. It doesn't matter. We're calling and we're staying in happy, and people respond to it. Even if it's not the right time, let's chat next week. That's what my people learn to do, and that's what I'm doing. Big shift in the mindset. So that's probably the best thing I can do.
So you talked about a concept real quick, and that we'll close out on
Yeah.
this one is upper limiting. So what Michael had done is gone through a tremendous amount of success because then you hinted at it, and then you took your foot off the gas.
Oh, yeah.
And there's
Oh,
a
yeah.
whole concept. One of the things we teach is on the concept of upper limiting. It happens in relationships. It happens financially. It's what Kaido talked about yesterday on the financial set point is you hit a certain level. What happened? You were doing incredible. You had your best years ever.
Yeah. So what happens? You take your foot off the gas. If something goes wrong, if a client gets acquired, happened to one of my best clients. If a client that I'm killing it, I've got a multi-city retainer. If they decide to let's hold off for now, and you got money in house, but you got to close the deal to get the rest of it. If that stops, I've got 15, 20 job orders right now, and then I've got zero. What happens? The revenue stops. And then you start playing all these mind games. You need to keep your foot on the pedal. You need to at least doing a steady drip consistently. And now well, I've taken it to another level. And with the help of my coach who saw blind spots that I just didn't even see myself right in front of my face, but I was too caught up in it, too subjective. I have multiple tiers and pipelines of where revenue can come from and do come from. So I'm not doing it all by myself. I am doing the work, but I'm actually partnering with other like-minded companies that could bring me in as their expert on the talent side. They may be an EOS implementer or a sales coach slash fractional VP, people like that. Plus, I'm doing the marketing. Plus, I've got guys and gals that I'm chatting with say, hey, I like what you're doing. Hey, let's see if we can partner up. Little things that I didn't even think I was going to be, but people are responding to what I'm doing in a different way, even than a year or two ago. But I wasn't ready. So here's the reality. I came into TRU. I spent a lot of time focused on the mindset work. And even though I had the business, I didn't spend as much time on what I'm not going to shit on myself. I didn't spend as much time on the marketing aspect as I know that I need to, because it's so important to keep that steady happening, because that's what I get happier and happier closing deals and then handing it off, closing the deals, handing it off. And I know that's where I need to stay. And that's what I love to do. And I'm getting really good at it. A lot of other tools to wrap our arms around here, but the metrics are big for me now, which I avoided it like the plague, because it was all about facing the fear of the embarrassment. Did I hit my numbers this week? I committed to this, and I got past the judgment. Huge mindset shift. Getting past the self-judgment. It's not about that. It's okay. I didn't hit it for what reason? I'll make it up tomorrow. And now let's get back on track. So that's huge for me. You asked me to think about things, and I wrote so many things down. That leaning into the evidence is phenomenal. I don't do that enough. So thank you for causing me to write it down. So I started putting it down on paper, going, holy moly, look at all the things I've shifted from only a short time ago. And it's huge. So I don't know if that's enough. There's a lot more we could unwrap here, but
Oh no, I know
that's
we
too
could spend
much.
a lot of time. I'm super proud of you, super happy for you,
Thank
especially
you.
again, you got to a high level of success, like you said, and you self-confessed, which happens with a lot of successful people. It's happened to me a couple times in my career where you've something in your head goes, oh, I finally made it, or I don't have to do this anymore. And that's when God slaps you in the face.
Oh yeah. And even the things like stuff we have no control of. Things happen in life, family, this and that. You have all these other things. And I can't tell you how challenging sometimes these things are, because we all dealt with life changes and family members passing, all that. Everything that hits you in the face. And it really boils down to handling that stuff, but still finding time, even if it's limited, to still do the work or have somebody else do it for you. Delegation was never a strong point of mine. I've gotten really good at pivoting. And if I had to fire somebody, I could train somebody in a heartbeat on how to do what I do. Maybe not as good as me, not yet. It'll take time. And it sucks to have to do that. But I have the framework now. I got that because I joined TRU. I got that because I spent the time and did the work. I've got it, and I've got it saved in my Teams account. I got all the forms I created. Some of them come from you, some of them come from other influences, but amazing. So thank you for that. So I like my business now, and I really didn't like it very much. I didn't like me. I didn't like how I was doing my business. Now
Well,
I like it because I'm only doing retained search. I got rid of everything contingent, and partly organically it happened, and partly I say no a lot. I say no a lot more than I say yes, which is a good position for me to be in.
I remember somebody told me that when I first started in recruiting, and I wish I could give them credit. It's like, because I was struggling, and they said, Mike, when you learn how to say no more than you say yes, you'll control your desk and your destiny.
Oh, that's one of my notes here. Learning how to say no, huge. I've got a list. I started the evidence. And when I first started working with art, I go, let's do, or even Kathleen said it, let's lean into your evidence, not about comparing yourself to other people, but what did you do last month and last year at this time, even last week? How about the wins? Every day could be 1 win, 2 win, 3 wins. I've got a 3 win rule. I follow that like the T. If I'm not getting three, I'm going to not end until I have 3 wins. So I've got my mindset stuff. Even the cold showers, Mike, doing those cold showers every day. If I miss one, it's just for me, it's just really, I do my gratitude work underneath a painful, happy cold shower every day. I couldn't even stand that in the past. Now it's actually refreshing, cools down my racing mind. So I love this stuff. And that's a huge thing that I've got from this community. And the best thing I got from you is the community, the accountability. And I have so many friends that I never saw recruiters, other recruiters, as potential partners. I saw them as the enemy, or they could be taking my job order. I have no concern about that. We're not competing with each other. It's actually a really good collaborative environment where we trade ideas typically every other day, even on these power hours. That's another thing. That was great. That's genius. So I love that. I
Well,
must be
Michael,
antennae.
thank you so much. Like I said,
Too much.
I always, no, never too much. I always enjoy talking to you. I love hanging out with you when you come to the meetings. And seriously, thank you from the bottom of my heart
Oh,
for all the insights and congratulations
thanks.
on your success. You've
Oh,
been
there's so
amazing.
much more we can unravel, but I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right.
Great
All
stuff,
right.
man.
Thanks,
Keep
Michael.
building this thing. I love it. It's a
Happy
dream team.
holidays.
You too, man. I'll see you.